more needs to be done in terms of indigenous knowledge systems, stuff that our great-grandparents have used, and how we can infuse that with modern technology.
Federal government assures of ongoing efforts capable of combating food insecurity through targeted agricultural projects. Senate investigates inefficiencies in power sector, disturbed about huge cost of grid collapse to the nation.
They will observe the election and they will report exactly what happened.
Plus, ahead of Ghana Saturday's presidential election, ECOWAS dispatches observers to regions. Hello and welcome. This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. We are live in Abuja. I am Chinenye Nwoyi and I'm glad you could join us. The federal government has launched the 2024 Hazard Risk Countrywide Analysis document to strengthen disaster preparedness and mitigation efforts across the country. Vice President Kashim Shettima at the launch reaffirms government's commitment to safeguarding lives and livelihood from ecological and other risks. We'll bring you details of this report in our subsequent bulletin. And the federal government is to reinvigorate the National Addressing Council to overcome challenges associated with the addressing system in Nigeria. The decision was taken during a pre-meeting of the council chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
This meeting is setting a stage for a new National Addressing Council, with the technical committee expected to be inaugurated next year to drive the country's agenda on planning, economic and financial inclusion, as well as ensuring an effective national addressing system. Underscoring the need for the immediate standardization of Nigeria's addressing system, Vice President Kashim Shettima described the move as essential for improving service delivery, enhancing urban planning, and driving economic growth. The Vice President decried the consequences of the current disorganized system, noting its impact on governance, logistics, and the financial inclusion of many Nigerians.
And this is more than complicated systematic addressing mapping. It undermines trust in address verification, and the consequences ripple far and wide. Inefficient governance, logistical bottlenecks, delayed emergency responses, and the exclusions of many Nigerians from the financial services.
Presentations were made by the National Identity Management Commission on enhancing the nation's address verification system and building a critical infrastructure for the National Addressing Database project, while the Nigeria Postal Service made a presentation on harmonizing the postcode with the National Addressing System, deploying the latest technology, particularly geolocating the physical addresses of Nigerians captured in the project. Leveraging opportunities in the National Addressing System will fast-track government's vision of attaining inclusivity and economic prosperity, especially for Nigerians in the rural areas. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Finance has pledged donor agencies and funders that the resources allocated for food security initiatives will be managed responsibly and effectively. This commitment was emphasized during the closing ceremony of a training by the International Fund for Agricultural Development focused on climate change adaptation strategies and the importance of financial discipline in agricultural financing. Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
Janine Pretorius is affiliated with the Center for Learning, Evaluation and Results in Anglophone Africa, Clear AA University of Weststrand, South Africa. She is currently in Nigeria to share her insight on the impact of climate change, particularly in the context of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, Social, Environment and Climate Assessment procedures.
And as much as I'm encouraged by IFAD's involvement, but I think as government also we need to do more. I think we need to find also creative ways of dealing with impact. I think more needs to be done in terms of indigenous knowledge systems, stuff that our great-grandparents have used, and how we can infuse that with modern technology.
The training workshop aims to strengthen the capacity of IFAD-funded project staff and stakeholders in Nigeria. The goal is to improve the quality of implementation of IFAD-financed projects and programs as related to climate change.
For them to understand that for IFAD project, this cannot be compromised because it's also embedded in the project design document, also in the project implementation manual. And so they have to follow all these documents that I call the Bible, step by step.
During the workshop, Babatunde Adebayo from the Department of International Relations at the Federal Ministry of Finance emphasized the importance of adhering to the rules and guidelines set by donor organizations and international bodies.
Let's comply with all the rules of the game. As we do so, we better our rural farmers. There will be food security in the country.
Participants expressed commitment to scaling down learning to grassroots levels by extending the outcomes of the training to state-level decision makers and farmers' organizations. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
More than 140 ECOWAS election observers have been dispatched to voting centers in the 16 regions of Ghana ahead of this Saturday's presidential election. At the orientation for them in Accra, they were charged to adhere strictly to their mandate, which is to help to strengthen the election process in Ghana. Kelvin Ebunuaye reports.
In line with ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance relating to providing assistance to member states holding elections, the exercise in Ghana is coming at the time the country is seeking to remain a beacon of democracy in the sub-region. This fact is the reason the regional bloc is asking these observers, carefully selected, to stick to their jobs of observing and recording incidences and not interfere with the process in their areas of deployment, because a successful election in Ghana will further consolidate on the growth of democracy in West Africa, where many countries have held successful elections in recent times.
They will go to all the regions of Ghana and they will observe the election and they will report exactly what happened. And after the election, we are going to have a statement on the position of what really takes place. So we wish the Ghanaians a very peaceful election, successful election for all the contestants.
The observers were also taken through the history of political development and elections in Ghana, as well as peculiarities of the respective regions, to help them know what to expect. In Accra, Kelvin Ebunuaye, NTA News.
Disturbed about the huge cost of grid collapse to the nation, put at 42.5 billion naira on each instance, Senate has resolved to investigate inefficiencies in the power sector. This was sequel to the presentation of a report by the Senate Committee on Power on the recent investigation it conducted on frequent grid collapse. Legislators were appalled that the privatization of the power sector has become a tale of dashed expectations for Nigerians.
Why do we hand over transformers bought by states and local governments and individuals to DECs, and then cables to DECs, and they make money from those things without making, in fact, without maintenance, without injecting new funds, and distribution is deteriorating instead of improving? How can we develop the nation?
The Senate was given an additional 6 weeks to holistically investigate the non-functionality of key stakeholders in the sector. Meanwhile, Senate has clarified that the tax reform bills have not been withdrawn as erroneously reported by some sections of the media. 5 opposition House of Representative members from the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party have defected to the All Progressives Congress. The lawmakers, 4 from Labour Party and 1 from the PDP, are Ahiatake Ibori-Suenu from Delta State, Donatus Matthew from Kaduna State, Tochukwu Okere from Imo State, Akiba Basi from Cross River State, and Esosa Iyawe from Edo State. In their letters of defection read at Thursday's plenary by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, the lawmakers cited alleged crisis in their former political parties as reason for their decision to defect to the All Progressives Congress.
Inability to declare who should emerge as the legitimate caretaker committee from the national to state levels.
I know the Speaker is somebody that respects the laws, and I am sure in a moment he will declare some seat vacants because the Constitution clearly stated that if you are sponsored by a political party to a House of Representatives or Senate, and you decide to move to another party, the House shall declare your seat vacant.
At the end of the day, as the party of the people, by 2027, we will open our arms again to give them their rightful ticket.
National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Iben reports that the House passed a resolution calling for reduction of checkpoints along the Onitsha-Enugu Expressway.
There are approximately 28 security checkpoints. That is at an average of 3.7 kilometers each. For example, Okuzu Junction, Amobia Junction, Ugwoba Boundary, Oji River Junction, and Onyama Hill, just to mention but a few. These subject travelers to constant harassment, delays, and extortions of different sorts, in addition to other inconveniences.
We read in the papers, hear in the news of killings every day on a daily basis. So if security men have now organized themselves to checkmate those challenges, I think what the motion should be talking about is to say appeal to them to be more organized and more civil.
The Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party has expressed displeasure over the National Working Committee's inability to convene a National Executive Committee meeting as previously scheduled for 28 November 2024. Chairman of the board and former President of the Senate, Adolphus Wabara, during the BOT meeting at the National Secretariat of the party in Abuja, emphasized that the emergency meeting aims at resolving internal party issues and planning for future electoral engagements. Timothy Yusuf brought in this report, but we'll bring you the details in our subsequent bulletin. We'll take a break here. The news continues shortly. Do stay.
Our food, our health, our tomato paste. There is no tomato paste, the taste of my house. There is no tomato paste, carry. Richico tomato pesto, Siwani. 100% natural tomato. Namune. Better food, not correct ingredients.
Thank you so much for staying on. Nigeria is taking a bold step to improve workplace harmony and boosting economic growth as it sets the stage to finalize its national industrial relations policy. Ignatius Nkwo reports that this is a landmark move that seeks to redefine the relationship between employers, employees, labor unions, and the government, anchored on promoting fairness and equity.
Labor relations in Nigeria is on the pedestal of a transformative movement as the federal government moves to finalize its national industrial relations policy, a significant framework designed to reshape the dynamics of workplace relations. In the face of evolving labor disputes, the national industrial relations policy emerges as a signal of hope, offering clear principles to bridge the divide between employers, employees, labor unions, and the government. It promises a future where fairness, equity, and justice are not just aspirations, but the foundation of Nigeria's labor sector.
To building an inclusive and resilient economy, where the rights and responsibilities of employers, employees, and the government are clearly defined.
We need to really create, strengthen, maintain platforms for dialogue so that we can identify issues before they become huge.
The Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment is committed to addressing long-standing issues that have impeded the advancement of industrial relations, from disputes over workers' rights to inadequate mechanism for conflict resolution, by fostering open dialogue, strengthening collective bargaining, and ensuring compliance with global labor standards.
We are determined to ensure that industrial relations get the best practice in Nigeria.
Documents that speak to issues that want to prevent strikes and unrest in the workplace, but also in a broad sense, achieve social justice.
The policy aims to harmonize interest and boost productivity. For employers, it offers clarity and stability. For employees, a promise of dignity and security, and for Nigeria, a pathway to sustainable economic growth. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has taken a step further to national security with the inauguration of the Counter-Terrorism and Command Communications Center in Abuja. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji Ojo says the initiative aligns with the federal government's vision of leveraging technology to tackle insecurity in Nigeria. Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, in collaboration with their international partners, designed the center to provide advanced surveillance, real-time communication, and intelligence sharing technologies to deal with emerging security threats in the country. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo says the center is in line with the federal government's aspirations. The minister, who spoke through the Director and Secretary, Civil Defense Correctional, Fire and Immigration Board, Jafaru Ahmed, commended NSCDC for establishing a facility which will counter emerging security threats and ensure seamless communication across the country. While commending the support of their international partners, NSCDC boss Ahmed Abubakar Aldi explains that the initiative underscores the commitment of the Corps to support the federal government's efforts to fight insecurity and terrorism in the country.
To encourage these people, to support these people, to support this service, and support also Nigerians at large. They now donated, this center to us. I'd like to tell you that when this center is completed, we're going to have a handshake with the Office of the National Security Advisor.
With more than 31 million Nigerians living with disability, issues of policy gap, barriers, equal opportunities, accessibility, and discrimination are still on the front burner in attaining a sustainable future for persons with disability. These were the views of guests on Good Morning Nigeria while discussing inclusion and sustainable future for PWDs. Ibrahim Bello Gunda reports.
Picking on the condition persons with disability find themselves in Nigeria despite the Persons with Disability Act, among other measures, guests on Good Morning Nigeria say inclusion is still a challenge that need a holistic approach while sharing their journey to disability and how they navigate life as a lesson for others. They highlight the need for sensitization to close the barrier and gap affecting persons with disability, provide equal opportunities, and advocacy against discrimination, among others.
You have different reactions from people around you, your colleagues in the office. Some accept you, but again, it depends on your own attitude, the way you see life, the way you react. So right from when I was still at home recuperating, when people would come around to see me, and some would come in weeping because they knew what I was, and I would say, hey, are you okay? What's wrong? Do I look like there's anything wrong with me? I am not disabled. I am differently abled.
For persons with disability, of course, the discrimination before, 10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you won't see us on television, national television, you know. So there's been some level of improvement.
They were unanimous on the need for enforcement of laws to ensure violators answer for their action or inaction.
In my office, we have a hotline in reporting, but we cannot just see something in social media without a reporting. We have a reporting mechanism. National Commission for Persons with Disability, they have a director of enforcement and compliance, and they have a legal director. They have everything, and they have their hotline is 24 hours opening. It's another reporting mechanism. Why would?
So as a commission, we're opening 6 zonal offices in the 6 geopolitical zones, and we're going to have offices in all the 36 states, including the FCT, and the over 774 local governments will have liaison offices in all of them. So that we will draw the government closer to the people. Then we can have a bottom-up approach.
Guests on the program stressed the need for both private and public sectors to be committed to the implementation of Persons with Disability Act by stopping discrimination in whatever guise, ensure accessibility, and accommodate Nigerians irrespective of their physical condition. In Abuja, Ibrahim Bello Gunda, NTA News.
The power of public-private partnership in enhancing healthcare, education, and services is beginning to yield results, especially tackling brain drain, reversing the trend, and empowering more students to become medical doctors in the sector. This is as the University of Abuja unveils learning facilities donated to its College of Health Sciences by Alliance Hospital, Abuja, following an existing developmental collaboration. Tokbe Alabi reports.
As of August 2024, Nigeria has 43 fully accredited and 14 partially accredited medical and dental councils with an annual admission of 6,500 students. With the ratio of 36.6 medical doctors per 100,000 persons in Nigeria, far from World Health Organization standard. This partnership between University of Abuja and Alliance Hospital, a foremost Abuja-based multi-specialty private hospital, is to address critical needs in healthcare, education, and services in the institution, especially in the areas of teaching, research, and service rendering.
I really want to thank you for your generosity and your commitment to enhancing education. Thank you so much.
This intervention is to support the college with the furnishing of 2 lecture rooms, each having 120 seats, as well as the electrification of the 500-seater capacity auditorium of the college and provision of air conditioners across the 3 facilities towards comfortable and uninterrupted learning.
He has helped us because, you see, we're going to have our reaccreditation next month. So this will help our reaccreditation bid. And with the issue of training our medical students, you know, they don't pay what we train them for because we don't charge fees. We only have service charges. I can't quantify what he has done.
They have been given a mandate to double their intake, but that will not happen without the Medical and Dental Council accrediting them. And part of the things they are looking for to be accredited is facilities. That's why we decided to upgrade. We furnished the hall and we brought in the electricity and stuff.
We're talking of people living in their droves today. What can you do? You can't stop anybody. But when you make the environment palatable, it will even attract people from out there to come back. and want to come and give in their best.
In a significant move to enhance healthcare education and services, Uni Abuja College of Health Sciences in November entered into a developmental partnership with Alliance Hospital. In Abuja, Tokwe Alabi, NTA News.
And that concludes the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. We thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Chinenye Nwoye.